Hello YouTube, Jackson here from FOAD, and today I'm going to teach you how to ride fakie on a fixed gear. So on our first tutorial video we got a ton of requests for different tricks to do. I decided that it would be best to start with fakie because it's kind of basic and it leads into a bunch of other tricks. It's also a super rad fun trick. You can spend hours doing it, and when you're learning you definitely will because it takes some practice to learn this. And doing it on a fixed gear is super cool. You can control how fast you're going backwards. It's just one of those tricks that, like, even today I still enjoy doing a lot. So what you're gonna need, you're obviously gonna need a fixed gear bike. It could be a track bike, it could be a fixed gear freestyle bike. I definitely recommend riser bars. The second thing is I would lower your seat maybe an inch or two down from like whatever your regular riding position is. That way when you're like bailing or moving around to balance on the bike, you have a little bit more leeway and you're not like getting caught on the seat. The other thing is I would definitely recommend straps and BMX pedals. Velocity makes some great straps. They just give you a little bit more leverage and they're easier to get out of than clips, I think. And the last thing you're gonna need is a big wide open space. Something smooth. Obviously a parking lot is perfect. That's also what makes fakies fun, is you can do them anywhere. Preferably the parking lot has a little bit of incline, not anything super steep, and that way you can naturally keep your momentum going. All right, so you have all the stuff. You're in a good place. Let's start to learn how to go fakie. Going fakie, you have to get into the fakie. And there's really three ways you can do it. First is a 180, which I don't recommend if you're first learning. You obviously have to learn how to 180, and it's just a little bit trickier. The second way is from a track stand, and if you're doing it from a track stand, you're probably gonna be doing a backwards circle. I didn't learn it this way. Some people find it easier. Maybe try this method. I'll go over that a little bit in this video. And then the third way is from a nose bonk, which I definitely recommend if you're first learning. First, you're gonna find something to do a nose bonk off of. It could be a wall, a curb, a parking block, a bush, a trash can, a light pole, a bike rack. It doesn't matter. Anything that you can nose bonk off of and it's not gonna fall over when you nose bonk it. So when you're going towards a nose bonk, you're gonna wanna come in pretty slow. You don't wanna ram into the wall. And preferably, you're gonna go into the nose bonk with your dominant foot forward. If you don't know what your dominant foot is, go do some bunny hops. Whatever foot you have forward is your dominant foot. But if you can't figure out your pedal stroke, you can go into the nose bonk, and when you lift up your back wheel, you can spin your cranks to the correct position, so that way when you take off for the fakie, your feet are in the right place. It can give you a little bit of momentum if you spin the cranks backwards. So some people like to do it. You don't really have to either way. You're gonna bring your body weight over the front of the bike. You don't have to lift it up super high, just enough to get your back wheel off the ground. As soon as you set your back wheel down from the nose bonk, you're gonna wanna shift your weight all the way to the back end of the bike. This is the #1 key to fakies. This is what I see people fuck up all the time, is they have their weight forward on the bike, they're trying to balance, they're trying to like move around. This is gonna make your front wheel a lot more squirrely. Have your arms straight out. If you're on a track bike, you wanna be sitting down completely. If you're on a fixed gear freestyle bike, you wanna have your seat between your legs. And this will just help you, #1, it'll keep your momentum going backwards. It'll also help you balance, and it also doesn't put as much weight on your front wheel, so your front wheel's not gonna be as squirrely. One thing I forgot to mention, you don't really wanna head check when you're first learning to fakie. You always wanna just keep your head facing forward. That's why you wanna do it in somewhere that's open, where you're not worried you're gonna hit anything behind you. The second key to fakie is momentum. It seems a little bit scary to go faster, but it definitely helps you. It helps you go straighter backwards, and overall it just makes the trick a lot easier. And that's what the nose bonk really helps you with, is getting that momentum to immediately go backwards. So when you first start going fakie, you're gonna notice that the bike is super squirrely and wants to turn in one direction or the other. It's not super easy to go straight backwards out of a fakie. Like I said, momentum, sitting back helps you with that. When you're riding backwards, it's almost like your front wheel has an edge, it wants to turn. You wanna swivel between each direction of turning. Another thing that can help you balance when you're going fakie are skip hops. Now skip hops are generally looked down upon, they're considered bad form, but they can help you regain balance when you're sort of leaning one direction or the other. Basically how a skip hop works is you just pick up your back wheel, And this helps you shift your weight and your balance if you're leaning over to one side or the other too far. In general, you should try to do fakies without skip hops, but when you're first learning, it definitely can help. Once you practice fakies for a while, you'll get more comfortable with the turning, you'll get more comfortable going backwards. It just gets easier over time. Like I said before, it takes a ton of practice to learn, so be patient. The second way to go fakie is a backward circle. Like I said before, I didn't learn this way. I personally don't think it's that much easier. I've also seen people learn backward circles before they learn how to ride fakie. I would definitely try both methods. First, you're gonna wanna start in a track stand. You're obviously gonna wanna have your dominant foot forward. And when you're in a track stand, your wheel naturally turns one direction or the other. I personally turn my wheel right. And so once you've got a comfortable position in the track stand, you're basically just gonna crank backwards. And once you start to crank backwards, you'll basically just create a circle because your wheel is gonna continue in that direction. And you wanna keep the circle not super tight because then you can hit your crank. The advantage to this is that you're not swiveling around. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to keep your momentum. Now, once you've gone fakie, you're faced with a whole other predicament. How to get out of it. There's several different ways to do this. There's sliders, there's keel spins, there's half caps. You could just stop your momentum and then start going forward. There's a lot of different ways to do it. I personally think that sliders or just a turn get out are the easiest. No matter what way you're doing it, it all starts the same. Basically, you're gonna carve one direction, whatever direction you feel most comfortable with, and then when your foot is level, you're gonna turn the opposite direction. You don't really wanna head check when you're going fakie, but when you are doing a get out, you wanna look the direction that you're planning on rolling forward. Your head and your shoulders will lead your bike. With your pedals, you're gonna wanna resist going backwards and then push forwards. Basically, that'll make you pop and turn out of the fakie. Once you get out, you've done it. You've gone fakie. This can take some time to learn, but it's definitely a fun trick and it's still entertaining to this day. It's also something that I still struggle with. So get out there, practice, have fun with it. So that's it for the tutorial. Hopefully this helps some of you guys out there trying to learn this trick. Drop a comment if you have any questions or what tutorial you want to see next. And that's it. Peace out. What is up, YouTube? Hello, YouTube. And today